Hey, what's up everybody? It's the People's Crypto. I'm back again with another video. In this video, I'm going to be discussing the current coin shortage in the United States and how this actually may be setting us up in the near future for a digital dollar or a Fed coin as some are calling it. But this actually is currently happening. I don't know if you've noticed it, but we have been having a coin shortage here in the States. But before I get into that, please keep in mind that this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research and please seek out a financial advisor if you're going to make any future investments. Okay, so let's dive right into it. So there is a coin shortage here in the US. I've noticed it. I've went to supermarkets and many other businesses that have stayed opened or reopened, and they're apparently asking customers if they're making either debit or credit purchases, or how they prefer them to make debit and credit purchases, because they do not have change to give back to customers. And it's actually pretty interesting because this is picking up more steam and it's actually being covered by the mainstream media, but it's not really being talked about too much, but it's being brought up in certain areas because this is actually really ridiculous, and people are even going as far as to say that because of the current health crisis, it has caused the government to not mint as many coins as they normally would. So it's really interesting, and it's becoming more of an inconvenience because this could actually put more people in debt if they're going to use their credit cards instead of using their debit cards, or if they don't have that much money on their debit card, then they're more inclined to use their credit cards to make, everyday purchases, which will only increase the amount of debt in the country and the debt that individuals are holding. So it's actually pretty interesting that this is happening. But also, please keep in mind that the government is creating tons and tons of digital cash, and they're giving it to, the 1% and, the banks. So it's pretty interesting that they're creating all of this digital cash, but they didn't take the time to mint enough coins to kind of like keep somewhat of a balance so that these businesses have enough coinage on hand to give back to their customers. So it's creating this really interesting dynamic, and this could also, lead us into a society where we go completely cashless. And the irony is we do have Bitcoin, we do have other cryptocurrencies, but the problem with this digital dollar is that they can continuously keep making more, just like how they're doing now with this digital fiat that they're making. They're just giving people stimulus in these digital dollars. They're saying they're having issues giving checks to people. Like, they're just making it blatantly obvious that they want to go this digital route. So they're creating these obstacles now that we're seeing, which is all by design. They're just trying to make having physical coins and cash extremely inconvenient. So they're creating these weird scenarios where there's shortages here, there's shortages there. And also in the future, they could easily implement negative interest rates if everything is solely digital. So they could easily implement this Fed coin or this digital dollar, or whatever they're going to call it. And then after that, they could easily just do, these bail-ins and, implement these negative rates. So you wouldn't be able to even run to the bank and do a bank run because your money would be solely digital and you'd be at the mercy of the banks. So it's really interesting. I'm going to play this video. YouTube is probably gonna flag me for it, but whatever. I'm also on LBRY, so I don't mind. So I'm gonna play it real quick so you can see what's actually being reported.
A viewer wants to know if the pandemic is causing a coin shortage. They sent this question to our LBRY team after seeing a notice at a store. Investigative reporter Sean Mercedes did some digging to see if it adds up.
The notice posted at Lowe's says, "Attention customers, the U.S. is currently experiencing a coin shortage. Please use correct change or other form of tender if possible. We apologize for any inconvenience this may cause." Tommy asked the LBRY team, "Is this accurate?" Our sources for this are Jerome Powell, chairman of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve sent in a news release on June 11th. The COVID-19 pandemic has significantly disrupted the supply chain and normal circulation patterns for U.S. coin. A week later, Chairman Powell addressed the shortage before the House Committee of Financial Services.
What's happened is that with the partial closure of the economy, the flow of coins through the economy has it's kind of stopped.
Because of that, some retailers are asking customers to use exact change to help minimize the impact. So we can verify there is a coin shortage across the country. The good news is Chairman Powell says this situation is just temporary. And now that the economy has started opening up, they are seeing some progress. With your Verify, I'm Cheryl Mercedes.
Interestingly enough, they're saying that it's temporary. However, with the spike in current cases in this current health crisis, they actually may roll that back. So this coin shortage may continue to be a problem, and these shortages are occurring all over the country. They're suggesting people use debit or credit, and it's even on discussion boards that a lot of people are saying like, what's really going on? This is weird. But it's all part of the plan. This is something that they wanted to happen. We're going to go into a Fed coin or a digital dollar relatively soon. Need I remind you of this particular article from The Economist in January of 1988, where it says, get ready for a world currency. I think what will probably happen first is the physical form of fiat will get destroyed and we'll get the digital form. The digital form won't be any better. It'd be just as bad because they can just go into a computer, type in a certain amount of numbers and just push out more money into the system. It would still create these same problems. The only thing is people won't be able to do bank runs because their money will be in a physical location or on servers. So you couldn't go and get physical cash. They could virtually tax you and track and trace every single transaction. So you would be at the mercy to, the banks and the government if they were to implement these negative interest rates. So it's only a matter of time before this actually happens. But you can look on Reddit and many other sites. People are talking about this. There's one, I'll read this really quickly. It says, so my job with an armored car service, and I worked at a branch. So before the shutdown, we would get in close to 200 bags of coin a day. And then during the shutdown, we would get maybe 10 to 15 and sometimes even less a day. So there you have it. Someone who works for, armored car service, they're even saying that, during the shutdown, they are receiving a lot less money. But before that, they were getting 200 bags a day of coins. This is all being planned. This is all planned out strategically. So they're making it seem like, this health crisis is really the culprit, but in reality, it was all planned out. So this situation is getting really interesting. And here's another article that says the national coin shortage prompts giant supermarkets to limit cash transactions. It says those pennies, nickels, and dimes and quarters are far more precious due to the national coin shortage brought on by the health crisis and resulting shutdown. As a result, the giant supermarket chain is the newest member of a growing list of retailers limiting cash transactions and or demanding exact change. Due to the national coin shortage, select giant registers can only accept credit, debit, and electronic payments at this time, company spokesman Christopher Brand said in response to Penn Live questions about coin shortages on Friday. And, you have Lowe's, 7-Eleven, Pilot, and Circle K are all doing the same thing, and they're telling customers to please use debit or credit. And I've even encountered this going into a supermarket in my area where they would press and hound you. Are you using credit or debit? Or if it's cash, then they're a little wary of taking cash. Like, it's really interesting what's going on. Also, we have now Walmart has, I think, went on to eliminate cashiers, and they have mostly self-checkout lanes in most of their stores, so they're implementing that now. So it's only a matter of time before we go into a digital dollar. The president could easily pass an executive order or something of that nature and say, hey, we're going digital. That could just happen easily overnight if these things continue to happen, especially they're considering rolling back a lot of these reopenings here in the States, which would only make this situation far worse. So it's becoming kind of crazy situation, which is not really being talked about too much. Some people are just really not really paying attention, and they're either using up their credit, or in some cases they are using their debit cards. But more people are, I would say, using their credit cards more than their debit cards, because they can just pay it off at a later date. But it just appears that this is all being done strategically by design to usher us into this Fed coin. And here's another article. It says Fed coin, the U.S. will issue e-currencies that you will use. And this article can be found on bitcoin.com. It goes on to say the U.S. Federal Reserve will not only issue its own cryptocurrency, but it will also make sure Americans use it. That's the prediction of currency guru Doug Casey, who has an uncanny record of being correct about economic and political trends. His latest book, Surviving FedCoin: How to Protect Yourself and Profit from America's Coming Currency Change, is a public bet that the U.S. government will issue its own Bitcoin, which Casey views as the last arrow in its money quiver. Yeah, so I mean, the people who have done extensive research on this current monetary switch, if you will, know what's coming. I mean, The Economist magazine even pointed this out 32 years ago, that they wanted to go into a e-currency. We have Bitcoin and we have all these other cryptocurrencies already that are well ahead of the governments. So it's only a matter of time before the governments make their own version of it. But like I said, they'll just continue to pump up the supply. It's not real hard money. It's just basically digital fiat. They can always make more of it. They can always give it to their billionaire friends first. They can give it to these banks. And they can also do these bail-ins where, you know, you're essentially getting taxed again on your money. And, you know, this wouldn't stop inflation. It would just make hyperinflation even worse. So it's a really interesting time that we're living in. This is why it's crucial you seek to figure out a way to exit the current monetary system before things get a lot worse. You do have many options out there. You can get yourself some Bitcoin, some gold, some silver. And you can also take a look at other cryptocurrencies as well, Litecoin, Ethereum. There's so many different options, but you know, the best thing you can do is hedge your bets against what's coming. And once they implement this Fed coin or this e-currency or whatever it's going to be called, you'll be at the mercy of the government. They can tax you. They can trace all your transactions. They can see every single thing that you're doing, who you're paying, who you're not paying, things you're avoiding. They can see everything. If you're trying to purchase a drug of some sort, whether illegal or legal, they'll be able to see all of your transactions. There'll be virtually no escape whatsoever. So, you know, it's important to get into something that's going to preserve your wealth and even grow your wealth as well. You still have an opportunity to get Bitcoin at around $9,000. Obviously, this is not investment advice. Please do your own research. And I even have a video on how to do your own research as it pertains to cryptocurrencies. But you should look into exiting the dollar, even if it's 1% of your wealth, or even if you don't have that much money and you're working a rinky-dink retail job, or if you're a waiter or a bartender, whatever your job is, even if you're a stripper, you know, you should be looking into potentially growing your wealth and staying in the dollar, as, you know, it's been normalized in society to, you know, have a big wad of cash and show it off, and you know how attractive that is in most of these videos and movies. You know, that's all going to change. And you need to possibly see other alternatives immediately, because this situation is not going to get better. There's supposedly supposed to be a second wave, and even a possible third wave of this current health crisis. So, this will only speed up what they're trying to do. And, here's another article, stimulus check. What is the digital dollar options being discussed by Congress? These things are being planned, and they probably already have everything pieced together. It's just that they're not going to let us know until things get a lot worse. And, then after that, that's when we'll get put on notice that, okay, these things are happening. But this is something real, and it's going to happen. Maybe 2021, I'm assuming, because that would be the 50th anniversary from when Nixon took the United States off the gold standard. Trump or whoever the president may be, may easily, sign an executive order giving Americans just a couple of days or months even to surrender their cash into their nearest local bank. Or maybe you would have to sign up for some federal checking account or something of that nature in a postal office or in some government building or something, and you would have to register, and then you could surrender your cash and coins, and they may, give you exactly what you're worth on this, digital checking account or something of that nature, and you'll get your cash. Or they may say, oh, we're going to give you a percentage. So if you put in $100, you may only get 75. They may do something weird like that and say there's like this processing fee. You never know what they can do. They could come up with whatever they want, and you wouldn't have a choice because you have to go into this eCash or this Fedcoin or whatever they're going to call it. So you'd be at the mercy to whatever they say they're going to give you, and it's not like you can say no, but you do have other options. You have Bitcoin, Litecoin, heck, you have Monero. You have different options out there. Look into whatever is the best option for you. Obviously, do your own research, but this is coming, and it's better to get prepared now than to wait until this does happen, and then they say, hey, well, since you already had $1,000 in your since you're giving us $1,000 in cash, unfortunately, due to the conversion fees and putting it into this digital form in this ledger, we can only give you $700 or $500 or whatever they want to say. And you would be upset. You'd probably argue, but there's nothing you could do about it. You would have to either take it or leave it. And 9 out of 10 times you will probably take it, unless you go out and decide, hey, I'm going to just go and buy, some Bitcoin, some Monero, or whatever other cryptocurrencies that's out there. But the thing with that is we don't know what the price will be at that time. Bitcoin, Monero, and all of these other cryptocurrencies that actually have some sort of value could be extremely expensive to buy. So you may be left with no choice but to go into this Fedcoin or this eCash or whatever they're going to call it. So you may be, out of luck and like, oh God, I have to use this thing now. And there's no telling if, in order to use this, you need to get a vaccination or something else. Like there's no telling what they may require you to do in order to go into this new system, because you'll be at their mercy. So, this is why you have to make sure that you're diversifying and you're getting yourself out of this digital dollar. There's no telling what's going to happen. But one thing is for sure, that they're getting ready for this digital backed government currency, which will be absolute complete garbage. And it's going to just make things worse for the common man and woman. I'm going to get ready to wrap this video up, but before we do that, let's see what the current cryptocurrency prices are. And I'm using the cryptocurrencyspace.com. Please feel free to go and visit it. All right, so we have Bitcoin at $9,135.28. Ethereum's at $228.88. Tether's at $1. XRP is at 18 cents. Bitcoin Cash is at $225.02. Bitcoin SV is at $155.19. Litecoin is at $41.83. Cardano is at 9 cents. And it's up. It's still doing good. Binance Coin is at $15.55. EOS is at $2.45. And that's going to wrap it up for at least the top 10. Thank you for watching and listening. Please share and repost this video if you're listening on LBRY, if you're listening on YouTube. Please like and subscribe to the channel so we can get this channel to grow. Thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoy your holiday weekend. And I will see you guys later.